power fuel, Speedway 79, power fuel, the F2 gas tube, and surpassing Speedway power fuel. The gas tank's connected to the gas line, the gas line's connected to the fuel pump.
Americans don't really think through the choices they're making when they go to the gas pump. The fact that gasoline today is cheaper than bottled water suggests that most people aren't really thinking about the costs at the pump and the broader environmental and economic implications.
So get yourself connected with Speedway 79.
We seem to believe somehow that it's our fundamental right to have cheap gas to put in our cars. We take energy use as a whole for granted.
The majority of the petroleum in the world is just for our society. Sometimes I see it so linked as, that's what being an American is darn it, we can drive these cars that get 12 miles per gallon and that's our right.
The reality is when you walk into a dealership, you don't have a choice between a 20 mile per gallon SUV and a 30 mile per gallon SUV. And yet the technology is there to build a 30 mile per gallon or even a 40 mile per gallon SUV.
My car's 20 years old and it gets 40 miles per gallon. And they're hardly building any cars right now that get 40 miles per gallon.
Today's average new vehicle is less efficient than it was back in 1980. I think consumers are frustrated that they can't deal with oil dependence, that they can't deal with global warming, so they're turning to, I think, some of their home remedies.
Lucy's is a local restaurant that I've been eating at for 3 years now. It's one of my favorite places. I know that when I eat there and I have French fries that I'm helping create the oil that then is running my car.
If you have or can get your hands on a diesel car, it gives you a lot of options because you can make some modifications to the car and then it runs just dandy on straight vegetable oil. They run great. Yeah, they smell like French fries or sometimes a little bit like stale potato chips, but either way, it's way better than exhaust.
Cars that run on vegetable oil make a whole lot of sense. It's an interesting concept, and quite honestly, I think it reflects disenchantment with the products that Detroit is offering.
Rudolph Diesel was the guy who thought of it. All the way back at the turn of the century, his first prototype that he showed at the World's Fair was running on peanut oil. The diesel engine was made to run on basically the sludge that's left over after you refine gasoline, and the petroleum industry called that diesel fuel as if to imply that that's what the engine was supposed to run on all along. But they actually run better on vegetable oil.
We've been working with vegetable oil and biodiesel technology, and it seems to fit in pretty well with the vineyards and winery here. I'm sitting on the tractor often, breathing the smokestack is right in front of the driver's seat, and old diesel smell, it's also got to be bad for you in more ways than one, so it's nice having something that's much less toxic to work with.
We're using a non-toxic substance. It doesn't hurt us. I mean, literally, it's food. You could eat it. It's carbon neutral. On top of that, it's a waste product, so it's already had its life cycle. The emissions are cleaner.
It's a tremendous opportunity to say you're reducing petroleum and also reducing global warming emissions.
I feel like that I'm just taking more responsibility for having a car in general.
There's something really satisfying on a very deep level of being able to eliminate just that really obvious petroleum dependency right there. I keep my money here. We're using that money ourselves to create something that gives us an alternative.
I think we are the first people starting an actual cooperative for fuel distribution, having a group of people that work together to have their fuel source for their cars.
which is really kind of a radical concept. We're very accustomed to having our fuel come from a larger infrastructure.
Oil feeds the fiery furnace or drives the diesel engines along far-flung rails of steel. And on the open road, well, you know what makes your auto run. The flash of power, the gleam of oil.
Oil companies really want to be energy companies in the future. I don't think our entire energy future can be put in the hands of industry or oil companies.
If I were king, gasoline would cost a lot more. I think we waste it, and I would like to see us use it more wisely.
I don't think that vegetable oil itself as a fuel is the solution. I more see it as a step.
One of the things that seems most intractable in all of the systems that we're dependent on is gasoline. We have a choice. We don't have to keep buying gasoline. I think that right there is reality shattering.